We're certainly glad to be here this Wednesday evening to hear our brother James Smalls. If any of our revolutionaries or militants turn up in the hospital tomorrow with a heart attack or a stroke, then we know they were at home watching the Knicks tonight. So we should check out all hospitals tomorrow morning for everybody who is going to be on the edge of their seat. Of course, one of the things that most athletes should be in shock tonight, because many of them, unfortunately, were just like O.J. Simpson, who only found out this week that he was black. When them cracker cops came in the backyard, noticed two white people dead, they immediately handcuffed him and treated him just like any other Negro. Just like any other Negro. And the Negro was back there begging white folks to take the cuffs off of him. And they had no basis at that point. In fact, they have no basis now. If they did, he'll be behind the bars and under the jail cell. But just the idea of this white rage and this white hatred and this white racism and this white supremacy that could not restrain them. And then more than anything else, O.J. has found out this week that members of the media have always waited for this moment where they could do him in. And they are doing it big time. They're doing it big time. Just last night I was listening to Radio 88, WCBS, and they have dispatched Irene Cornell all the way out to California. Now, if there were ever a racist carrying a media card, it is Irene Cornell. I remember when I was representing one of the young black men in the Marla Hanson case and was really grilling Marla Hanson on the stand. Had on the stand for about 5 days. And white folks were going nuts. And I was throwing everything at her. I dug up her whole background and brought it out in the courtroom where it should be if you're going to practice law seriously. And about the third day, as I was cross-examining Marla Hanson, I heard Irene Cornell say to one of her colleagues, "Why don't they stop that black gorilla from cross-examining that white woman like that?" And during intermission, I held court right there. I said, I just want everybody to know that this is a 3-ring circus. I'm the ringmaster, and Marla Hanson is my pet. And them crackers went nuts. And that was 6 o'clock news on Maddox. But it really points out, by sending Irene Cornell out there, how they really plan to do a job on O.J. And based on what I've heard so far, and knowing what I know about the criminal justice system, O.J. Simpson, based on what we have been told so far, he could easily be framed. based on what we know so far. These crackers are proficient at framing people. They are proficient. Many of us may be sitting out there not believing that. But these white folks will stay up night and day. And they cannot stand for a successful black man to be masquerading around like he is white. They cannot stand that. And they have this week had two blacks on the same day in photograph, Mike Tyson and O.J. Simpson, on handcuffs. Both of them in handcuffs, sending a message. This is a war of images. And they will kill two crackers just to carry out their war of images. This is a continuation of the repeated showing of the beating of Rodney King to terrorize the black mind. That's what this is. And to tell you that I don't care how many Rolls Royces you have, how many white women you marry, how many $1 million in your bank account, you can always be succumbed to white supremacy. And they will kill white folks just to make that point to you. This white girl was nothing but a waitress. That's where O.J. picked up from, waiting tables. And wouldn't give black queens the time of day. He wouldn't. Wouldn't give black queens the time of day. We have to really check ourselves. And then the next mistake he made, and I will say this, it hurts me when I listen to radio because there's so much misinformation that comes on radio, especially our radio. I can only take it about 10 minutes. That's all it takes for me to have a sermon for Wednesday night. About 10 minutes of radio, and I'm ready to go. And that's about all I can stand. It was about 10 minutes. I turned on radio this morning, and I heard somebody say, well, you know, he got a high-powered lawyer. Weissman is the biggest joke under the sun. This is the same cracker who did not know how to write a motion to quash a subpoena when they tried to photograph Michael Jackson's private parts. And they did. And he didn't even know that you could make a motion to quash a subpoena. They told that cracker to have Michael Jackson down at the infirmary at a certain time, and he was there. And now they get ready to show the penis in every porno magazine in America. They got a motion now, all the porno magazines, saying that this is public property. And we need to commercialize his private part. That's what's going on right now. They're all waiting to make millions and millions of dollars off of Michael Jackson. They're going to be the latest rage, Michael's penis. That's what's happening at this very moment. Weissman is the biggest joke under the sun. And we need to stop reading these white newspapers and repeating what we read. That's all we're doing. Most of our news stories come out of cracker papers. And we're doing nothing but repeating that stuff. These papers should not be read on the air. Because we are continuing the conspiracy of the white media by reading this trash on the air. I had a story they claimed in the L.A. Times the other day, claiming that they found some bloody object, glove on O.J.'s property. And now it turns out that it wasn't on his property, according to certain law enforcement sources. We should not be repeating these stories because this is the way that the media operate. They drop stories every day to convict you before they ever put you in handcuffs. And we ought to know better. We go for the okie doke every time. We get up and we discuss how bad the Daily Blues is, how bad Blues Day is, and we still commit the same errors. After having dissected how the media operates, after having dissected it. And so, to OJ, it's really sad, but he hit the wall. And it should be a lesson to all brothers to leave white witches alone. I say this all the time. Of all the species on the face of the